Dave here. How are you? Today, Mother's Day in Australia and possibly a few other countries. I don't know what's happening in the rest of the world. Please tell me if it's Mother's Day anywhere else in the world. I'm guessing New Zealand would follow suit with us. It probably is. The reason I ask is because I know Father's Day is a different time for some countries versus others. I think we have it in September. I'm not a big fan of Father's Day, but nonetheless, Mother's Day I think is very worthwhile, and so a big happy Mother's Day to all the mums, my mum included. She's probably not watching this though. All right, what do we got? What have we got? Today, I'm going to hook in early. We're going to revisit this mongrel thing that I stuffed up last week, and I'm going to try and do it properly today without mistakes. And I'm going to use this thing. See this? This is a pencil, and I'm actually going to draw a line where my 7-degree cut should be. So because as you look at something and turn it around, the world kind of disappears, and things that should be happening as you think don't. So we're going to do that. We're going to have a look also at this table. Now, mentioning Mother's Day, this is the reason I brought this out. Now, this is my mother's dressing table that my great-grandfather made for her. So her grandfather made this for her. 4 or 5 years ago, this table came here when Mum moved into assisted living. On the trip, it fell off my trailer at 110 kilometres an hour. Now, this pays tribute to how good Arthur's joinery was, because there was very, very little damage. There's a big graze across the front, so we're going to look at fixing that. Further down the track, not today, I'm going to look at rebuilding the mirror mounts because they were very tall and spindly and snapped. And a couple of areas around the top of the drawer boxes that live on top. The mirror and all of the drawers, thank heavens, were inside the vehicle, not out on the trailer. So that's what happens when you're not paying attention when you're tying something on. And who would have known that David had not long done a video on how to tie a load down, not too much earlier than that happened. It's a bit embarrassing, but we won't, don't tell anyone. All right, so I'm going to hook in almost straight off and get started on this. So if you're watching and you're thinking, it's just talk again, it's not. I'm going to start using the drill straight away. I've got it set up with the camera. I'm going to also, hold on quickly, everyone, don't think your mic is working, Dave, sounds echoing. Well, that's no good. Let's see if I can turn that one off, that one, and that one. Is that any better? Is that any better? I've disabled, for some strange reason, 3 microphones came up, and I've no idea why. All right, so we'll hook in, as I said, but I'm glad I just quickly read there, because otherwise the sound would have been terrible. All right, let me know if the sound is any better. Okay, so they're going to start the viewers' sheds and setups. We've got 2 guys. Doesn't sound echoey to me. Okay, good. Sounds good to me. Buddies grew up and around Lightning Ridge. You guys are chatting about other things as well. All right. All good. Excellent. Good. All right. Win tickets to the Sydney Timber Tools and Artisans show. I will be giving away 5 double passes to people in New South Wales and the ACT. So jump in. There's a link down in the description box below this picture that you're watching at the moment. Click the show more button and there'll be a whole heap of links to different things. And one of them will be to win these free double tickets. And as I say, Timber Tools and Artisans, it just used to be Timber and Working with Wood show. People have got a little bit bored with just working with wood all the time. And so there's blacksmiths and all sorts of other artisans. All right, here we go. Good old USA, no tariff required. Just at the right time. Excellent. Who'd that be to where? Okay, I'm going to move the camera over to the other one. And the other one also, I have to make sure that it's all disabled. Let's transition that one. And that one as well. They all turned on for some strange reason. Not to worry. 100 should have shattered 99% luck. Exactly right. As I say, it just shows Good. It just goes to show that you've got to be careful. So what I've got here is I've drawn all of the lines. I haven't used the texter this time, or what you guys might call a Sharpie. I've got the dust extraction hanging over the back here, and there's an interesting thing that I'll show you in a minute about that. About instead of using zip ties, I'm going to turn the dust extraction system on without tripping over the lead, and hopefully it's going to start sucking from here. Yep, that's working. There we go. I don't know if I've got any other lines open at all, but it's going fine. All right, here we go. Let's get this started. I'm going to work this side. One of the things I'd done last week was I had the cutter in too far, so that my overlaps were too much. So I put the fence back a little bit so it's not going to be hanging over as much. There we go. And I've set the depth already as well. Okay, the next one along. And the last one in this particular run. There's just a bit of junk in that last T-slot. Spin around, you can see how it's looking there. So as I say, the overlap from these holes isn't going to be as intense. It's not going to go up there as far. And that was one of my mistakes last week. I didn't tell you guys about that one, did I? Here we go. Must have been a knot there. And the last one I'm going to hold at this end. Keep my fingers away, keep them safe. Good. There we go. Whoop. That'll do it. Alrighty. Back to the other camera. And I'll see what's happening over here. Give me a second and transition back and turn the Dusty off. Alright, I'm going to do a quick read. My drill fell off the bench yesterday, now it won't work. Oh, that's no good. Sorry about that, Chris. David, yes, politicians, just a thought, could also make an interesting T-load holder. Yep, of course it could. Okay, so this is what I have now. And what I did before I cut that was I tested on a blank to make sure that this overlap here, there, that point, when it's there, would still stop a bottle from dropping out the front when I cut it. That's the next thing I'm going to do now, is cut it. So I'm going to drag this guy out of the way for the moment. Don't throw me on the highway again, it's saying. All right, drag this bandsaw back into view. And drop him down off. How good is it having a bandsaw on a mobile base? This mobile base, I've got 3/4 inch plywood in the bottom of it, and the base I've actually made wider than it needed to be. I've kept the bandsaw towards the front of the base, and the plywood goes out behind the bandsaw's actual foot by another 5 or so inches. So it makes it a lot harder to be able to tip it over. It stabilizes it. That's a thought if you're going to put something on a mobile base. Think about doing that. All right, where are we? Plug it in to here, like so. And I'm not going to bother about putting the dust extraction on it because this is only going to be a very quick thing to do. I'll bring the other camera over here as well, so you can watch that. Let's see how that goes. Drink of water. All my stuff in here, I'm making sure I'm not telling pork pies. I think all of my stuff in here is on wheels. The only thing that's not is this bench, this assembly table, the table saw, Arthur's bench, and the docking station. That's the only things. Everything else is mobile, and I love it. The CNC, of course, is not mobile. I can't have that mobile. All right, I'll switch cameras again, if I can, to that one. Down to there, like so. See how we go. Now, last week I was talking about getting it centered. We're on there, aren't we? So I make sure the bandsaw's not on. And the other thing is, when you start a bandsaw, make sure that you tension the blade. I'm not going to say anything more than that. On the back of this is a big bar, and you know that this saw is new to me, so I'm still learning it. So what I'm going to do is quickly do a little tiny cut there and rotate it over so I'm finding the center that way rather than do a measure. Okay, see if we're going to go all right. We are. I can see, you can see that, I'm hoping just here. I need to come across ever so slightly. This thing also has a, you hear that noise? What that is the motor turns into a generator and acts as a brake. So it doesn't keep on turning for 100 years. My Powermatic did turn for a long time. It used to take around a half a minute, maybe 40 seconds. I reckon that's good. I'm just going to push that straight through at that. And camera. Switching the cameras. It's not wanting to switch very quickly for me. I also have everything on wheels as to share the shop with the wife's car. Wayne, that's no good. I know, man. All right, now I've got them cut, and you'll notice there's little scallops here. I don't want to leave them there. I could have left them there and had them, like the one I did last week, have that there sitting like that, and then have the scallop as a finger grip around the back if I wanted to. But it would have just been an excuse. So, not happening. So I'm going to run these over the jointer. Give me a sec. I'm going to set up over there. Move this camera around and down here. This is why with this gear here that I say to people, if you can help me out with Patreon, that's great. Because a lot of this stuff I don't need for doing videos. Let's see how we're looking there with that other camera. Yep, that'll do me. I'm going to wear the eye muffs with the jointer. And I'm going to turn the Dusty on and we'll switch over there. Shut this one. And go over here. Open this dust port up. I love that sound. There was a little bit left down the bottom there because I've been slack and didn't turn this on. And then away we go. Now the other week I was talking also about grain direction, and you can see the grain is traveling down this way, so that's the correct direction to take it over the jointer. I only want to remove these and make that surface nice. So it's going to go there. It's on 1 millimeter. I'm good with that. I'm going to use the push blocks. Yep, I'm all good. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, I reckon maybe another cut or two. We'd be fine. One more. Beautiful. That's lovely. There you go. I'll do the other one. Looking for the grain direction on that one. It's a little bit hairy. I've really got no idea. I'm thinking this direction. We'll see. Yeah, that's clean. One more. Good. Okay. So how it's going to go together is that is going to sit on there and be glued. Now that's all looking pretty good. What I might do is I might take a little bit more off the bottom on these guys. One more pass off the bottom. Yeah, that's better. It's giving me a sharper corner. It was slightly rounded. This is just leftover framing timber. Now again, the grain's coming down this way. I'd probably get away with it both ways, but I'm going to start it at this end. And I think also, I've got another piece of wood here I want to run over it. This is another piece of pine. I just want to clean that up, take those off, and basically make it nice and square that direction. Start, stay on. That's nice. And then this one. Maybe a couple of passes with this one. One more. That'll do. Coming back, I'll switch cameras in a second. Where are we? There. See? I must turn that off. Drink. How's the time going? 20 past. We're doing well. We're just at glue up stage. All right. I'll go to Carl Cam over the top here. I should really take the specs off, but anyway. Yep. Good. So we've got two pieces that are actually the stand, and so the 3 are going to go at the front, the 4 at the back, and then this guy here is a support. So I'm going to glue that to that, and then that one's going to go there, but a little higher. And then we're going to take it over to the bandsaw and totally stuff it. Oh yeah, the track saw as a jointer is great. There's no problems with that at all. So I want to get this part done and then get the glue up done, and then we'll go over and start working on the other thing behind me when I, the embarrassment. All right, I'm going to quickly read. Motorbike run side, so we're talking about the size of our workshops. Christia having some food, great. 24 by 40 with a 12-foot ceiling. Use track saw. Janice Williams, love curry sausages. Needs some more thumbs up, guys. Okay. All right. Glue. Glue is the next thing. And some clamps. And we'll, as I say, we'll try and get this part done quickly because I want to be able to put it through the bandsaw and actually have a result rather than the embarrassment that we had last week. All right. Making sure, because this is recycled timber, I want to make sure that when there are no nails in there, I can see through those holes. I was the person that denailed it, so I think it's going to be okay. Glue brush was the other thing. I cleaned a glue brush this morning. There it is. Stop panicking. Alrighty. The old silicone glue brush. Dr. Greg uses a glue brush. Well, actually, it's a pastry brush of some sort that he got from Woolworths. You know, silicone brush for putting egg white, I guess, on as glazing. All right. Clamps is what I'm looking for. A couple of these. I should have got all the clamps out ready. I'll probably need a couple more than this, but this will do for the moment. Move these guys out of the way. This project is going a whole lot nicer than it was last week. Don't speak too soon, David. All right, let's glue it. Let's glue it. So this one is going at the back. There's nothing else I really need to do with this. What I do need to do, and I nearly stuffed up, is, see here, I've got those pencil lines on. Well, rather than try and sand those off later, how about I hit it with the jack plane right now. And I'll do that. Let's see, where's a good one to work off? Possibly, yeah, look, I'll go on that one. There's a use for the crosscut mark, and I don't know if you can see that. I'll swing that around because this is interesting. I'll tip that down a little bit. There you go, you can see it now. So these are this is where I normally put the tall dog for when I've got the track saw on here. And then these are the supports for going back way. The reason that's there is to give you just that little bit more room and to stop the motor housing hitting on this if you're using it in that way. So I can slide that onto there now, and hopefully I'll do a couple of passes there to get rid of those pencil marks. Gone. That's lovely. All right, and let's do this one as well. Watching the direction of the grain, it's that way. One more. Done. All the pencil marks gone. That's good. That's all good. That's all good. Lovely. Glue time. I'll tip it up a little bit, about there. So let me, I'm stopping this time and thinking as I'm going rather than racing ahead, because that's what happens. If I'm not concentrating on the job and concentrating on other things, I end up stuffing it up. So that'll go to there. Beautiful. Done. Which means I can put glue right down the back of this. Brush. Now you might have seen comment on YouTube and Facebook and what have you lately. Everyone's going for this thing where they don't use dominoes on a glue joint. They say that it's the glue is going to do all the work. The dominoes or dowels or whatever you've got aren't going to do anything. Well, to a certain degree, that's correct. The glue is going to be stronger than the timber. I've proved that a few times when I've tried to separate things that hasn't broken on the glue joint. It's actually torn the timber. Put that there. But the big thing for me is when I'm lining boards up, especially on a tabletop or I'm doing slab work, I don't want to have to muck around. The dominoes line everything up for me. And the large dominoes have got a hell of a snap. The large dominoes are a 2-ton snap factor on them. That's a lot. Now let's see if I can do this without it all sliding. That's good. I'm not worried. See, at the moment, it slipped a little, but I'm not overly worried about that because when I put the next piece on, I'm going to also clamp it this way, so it'll all pull together. Alrighty. Now, this one is going to go there, right in the center, and in line with that, and in line with those. So now I can glue the back of this one. So has anyone got anything planned for Mother's Day? I'm going to try and catch up with my mum tomorrow night. That'd be good, because I think she'll probably be doing things with other people today, my brother and sister probably. But, or not, maybe she's just hanging around taking photos. She loves taking photos. It's something easy for her to do. But by all means, let me know what you're doing. You're going to have Vegemite, are you? I didn't read all of that because, it's like when you're swimming and you reach up for a gasp of air and you can quickly look around, see what's happening around you. Now that's good there. I'll turn it around this way a little bit. See, move that over there. This one is going to go on here. There, probably. No, I'll put it under there. Just a little bit at this stage and then down the end here. This is exciting, isn't it? What did you do on the show, Dave? Oh, a bit of gluing. It's bloody good, as a matter of fact. Okay, so I need a clamp to hold that in position so it's not going to... At the moment, I'm getting a little bit of a step here. So I'm going to put another clamp on this side and this side, and that will pull it back. So I'll just tip that camera up a bit more. About there. Oh, what have we got? What have we got? Some more clamps. I'll try these little guys. These might work. That's good there. And then this one, I've got a bit of a hole there I need to pull up. About there. Oh, that's made a difference straight away. And I need another one there. What do we got? Another one of these. I don't like using clamps that are longer than what I want for the purpose, but if you haven't got it, if you haven't got them, you haven't got them. So. I think that that's going to do us. All right, so there I have the project clamped up, and I have these two ends of the two support points locked together in line. This bottom piece that I've got my thumb touching is going to be cut off. So I'm going to get a little bit of rag and clean out that overblow or the overspill from the... It's a good idea to say that you're going to get a rag, David, if there's none there. Bit of water. We used to use boiling water. When I was an apprentice, we used to use really, really hot water, and I think it had a better effect on the PVA glue. Now, I don't know, I haven't done a lot of research, but I don't know if Type Bond Original is a PVA glue. I think it is. I think it is. If you've got any comment, throw it on. That's coming off well. See this guy here? He's your friend. I guess I should have put some tape down. I bet you I've got numbers dropping like crazy at the moment. Oh, you would. He just used glue and waffled. Well, if you've done a clamp up, you know that it takes time. That's all there is to it. Okay, they are. Yes, these are a look. All these companies try and reinvent themselves with a new clamp. Well, it's a nice clamp. It's a gear clamp, is what it's called, and it's designed for if I can't get in somewhere. Say, like they show a picture of the back of all of these or the front of all of these units. And then at the back of the units, they've got a back that's actually set back 20 millimeters. And they use these to clamp them all together from behind so they can get all their fixings done. Because the other clamps, I'll show you why. Okay, just to give you an idea. Conventional clamp. Okay, so my hand is on the same plane as where I'm turning. These things, my hand is down here. There's the plane up there where I'm grabbing. This one, all it does is there's a series of gears through here that turn the threaded section in here. So, and it's on one of these things. You pull this back and you can slide it to wherever you want. They're a handy clamp. I don't use them a lot, but they are handy, you know. And you know the story, you can't have too many clamps. That's not what I was wanting to show you. So that's that. and we'll put that, that's going to glue up nicely. I'm going to leave that till around about 5-2, and then we'll pull it out of the clamps and run it through the saw. Right. All right, what do we got next? Whilst we're waiting for that to dry, I'm going to do two things. Two things that I've got to do. If I can remember, it might be great. Two things. I've got to read out some of the viewers' things that are happening, their workshops, and you'll be surprised. One's in Alaska and the other one's in the UK. The other one, do the gears make it a tighter one? No, they're nowhere near as powerful as the gears are just transferring your twisting over to the other part. There's no ratio change. Okay. All right, so we're going to cut the front off that table over there. I'm going to move this out of the way straight away because we've used that for the moment. And how good. Mobile base, I love them. That's out of the way. Bring this back up. It also is on wheels. And I'm also going to give you a tip on if you've got one of these Festool separators and you find that with the standard hose you're losing too much suction, because with this you lose, they say around 20%. I put my anemometer, which measures wind speed, I put mine on and it dropped it by 33%. Now, why did I go ahead and buy it after I knew all of that? Because it is fantastic at separating all the stuff out. I can maintain constant suction, even though it's dropped a little bit, or a fair bit, nearly a third, it's constant. The other thing I did was I took it back to around about 24% drop by putting one of these in between. Now, this is one of those clunky things. This is 2-inch. The one that comes standard is not. It's 27 millimeters. So this is nearly 4 times the volume. You work out the difference between 27 millimeters surface area on a 27 millimeter diameter circle versus a 52 millimeter diameter circle, and you'll see why I'm getting so much better airflow with this. I was looking at anti-static things and they were going to cost, a bomb, absolute bomb. So that thing there cost me $25, and it makes the world of difference. Also, if you use a larger hose, with this one, this is a non-anti-static hose because it's a waste of time having an anti-static hose on that. Now that I've put that other section in there, I'm not getting to earth. So I always use this for the track saw and the CapEx, and also for cleaning the floor. If I'm using the sanders, well, then I put the other hose back on, and I use the 32 to 27 millimeter hose in anti-static that's got the sheath around it. And they work fantastic. The domino as well, I use the 27. I don't need to change this for the domino. It can stay there for the domino. Of course, it's not a thing that's generating a lot of static electricity. Okay, plug this guy in. And I'll bring that camera down here as well so you can watch if I stuff this up or not. Alrighty, so if you don't have a track saw and you were curious about them, I'm about to use one, but you don't have to get the same brand as I've got. You can get there's a lot of people make them. Different companies make them and they all perform, but to different degrees. Let me see. Morning, Brian, how are you? Where are we? Switch that to there. All right. So you'll be watching that. Now you can see that this is Australian cedar. So this is a beautiful table. And Arthur made it. And you want to see some of the detail? Look. There's these dovetails. All done by hand. Just beautiful. The whole thing by hand. Underneath, the draw bases have all been planed at an angle, you can see on the back here, to chamfer the base into the rebate. See that? Every drawer would have been hand fitted. So, I have some repair to do. As I say, I've got to repair up the top here. You'll see on the corner here, and you'll see down here. Now this part is the one that I'm going to try and sort today. And I'll talk you through it a little bit as to what I'm going to do. Today all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this off. I've had to think, I'll come down here. I had to think about the best way to do this. I was thinking about cutting it off and planting something else on the front here to maintain an overhang. And I was thinking, no, it's really not going to look very nice having another piece, even though it's Australian cedar that I've got to do it. I thought it might be better to cut this off, release from the back, drag the whole thing forwards. It doesn't have to have that 1.25" overhang. I can have a 3/4 inch overhang and it will look just as good. As a matter of fact, it'll make it easier to see what's in the drawers. Beautiful job. Very, very upset when it went tumbling down the motorway. And a guy actually pulled over, must have been a woodworker, and he helped me carry it. I was struggling, trying to carry these bits and pieces. I was going back and finding little bits and pieces on the road. Look at this. These are the finials. These live up on the top, and I've got one left. The other one is snapped off at the top. So what I'm going to do is at the wood show, I'm going to go and see one of the turners, either the guys from Artisans on the Hill or Theo the wood turner, and I'm going to take timber down with me and I say, can you turn me 4 of these, please? And that'd be lovely. If they do, I'll stream it. I'll put it on the show. I'll do it at 11 o'clock on the Sunday morning, if they can do it for me. Anyway, I'm talking too much. Let's get the glasses. Okay. I'm going to use the track saw, and I'm going to clamp it down this time. So I need to make sure that I'm in line with the front and I'm not cutting into anything. That's looking pretty good there. I can come back ever so slightly from the front and I think it'll be good. I'll do a tape measure as well because that's always handy. So the overhang is 34 millimeters. So we've got to be 34, probably 33 is going to be best. That's a bit of an angle. I'm trying to go back to areas that actually haven't been destroyed. 33, 33. That should be good. Famous last words. All right. Going to hook onto the end there with the track saw, with the clamps, if I can. No, they're not going to let me do it. They're not going to let me do it. You know why? Because the lever on the clamp is bumping into here. So what I can do there is I can get what's called an FS Rapid. And this wasn't planned. It's just that I know that I have another clamp, another track that's got that on it. And it works. I'll show you how it works. Here we go. So on the back, it has this guy here. So I can release that and slide that along to wherever I need. And what I'll do is I'll put this on here. On the other end is a clamp like a pistol grip. So I can flip that over and that happens. See that? So there's a little point there that you can release, pull it back. Into position, get the tape again. What did I say, 33? And at this end, come on, you can do it. That's 33 there. hold it there and move it back ever so slightly to the back here. Sorry if I'm taking my time, but this is, I don't want to stuff this. Back 1 millimeter. Okay, now that I've got that there, I can slide this down and lock it in position. So that's not going anywhere, and then I can squeeze the pistol under there. Got it. See that now? It's held either end. One last check. Measure twice or 3 times, cut once. I'm going to switch the cameras again back over to the main one because I'm going to show you what I'm going to do as far as the blade is concerned. I'm going to use the Panther because I think I'm going to get the absolute best rip out of that one. See, that is a rip blade. There are fine cut blades and universal blades, but this one I think I'm going to get the best result out of. Have I got the Allen key in there? No, I don't. Give me a sec, grab the Allen key. I could use the blade that's in the saw, but I don't know if it would end up any good. I haven't got the Allen key there. Ah, dear. This is getting back kind of to the pace that I normally work at. It is very slow. There's none there. I'll grab it. Sorry for this delay. Yeah, well, if it isn't one of them, I'm stuck. There's normally an Allen key that lives on board on the saw, but it's not there at the moment. So if you're not familiar with these saws, you pull this up and that locks it, and then I release it here, and then that holds it at the right spot so I can get to the Allen key, and it's also locked the blade so it can't turn. I think it's this guy. Yep. Get this guy off. I don't need to leave this on because there's nothing really there that's going to get that back. There we go, take that one out. I'm not going to be protecting the off-cut at all. Make sure it's turning the right direction, and it turns. Rather than trying to pull you along, it's going to cut to slow you down. So that's the side, and it's the same side as all of the colour is on the blades, if that helps at all. See the colour there? Eventually all of that colour, that's in this particular one, it tells you what you can use the saw for when you get the washer on, of course. Got it? Okay. So right below, I'm going to get this on first. So we'll do one thing at a time, David. Okay. So here I've got a yellow and a green. I don't know if you can see that. I'll come up closer. So there's yellow and green on the blade. And see below it, down here, they're all the color codes as to what you can cut with that color blade. Works well. Great system. Then when you've got it like that, push that back. Okay? Now it will work. Got the new dust port on as I had last time. I'm not going to worry about putting that in. That's the splinter guard for the offcut. And I'm going to set the saw to, what thickness are we on that timber? That is 1 inch thick Australian cedar. So 25 millimeters, close enough. And we're going to allow for the track as well, the guide rail, which is 6 millimeters. So 31, let's go 32 millimeters there, and I should go through. And if I've got the thing in the wrong spot, I'm hopefully not going to stuff it up. So we'll just see how we go. That's going to go onto there. And I've got good tracking right the way through. I say I don't want to ruin this because this is over 100 years old. And plug this in, the dust extraction, into this cable. There, leave all of that out of there, and the plug it cable. This might seem like a lot of time mucking around in between processes, but if I was doing something where I was doing a run of stuff, well then I'd only do the setups once and then just keep on going. Color coding is all good and well unless you colorblind. Well, what was that? Chris, Minister of War and Finances. Okay, I'm going to plug this in to the dust extractor and then we'll switch it over to automatic, which it is. Plug it cable into there. I've got it set at 6. And we'll switch the cameras so you can watch to see if I go okay or destroy it. Drawers are all in the way. They're a fair way down. They're a fair way down. There's no way that saw is going to plunge down to that height. We'll be fine. Let's switch cameras. Not that one, that was Carlcam. All right, there we go. All righty, here we go. A little bit nervous. Forgive me, Arthur. I'm going to check. That's looking pretty fine. Beautiful. I'm good. Here we go again. Beautiful cup. I'm happy. Switch it back. There we go. I'm happy with that. That's worked well. I'm going to keep this Australian cedar because you never know, I might need a little bit of that further down the track. Even though it's destroyed on the end, there's good sections in there. Alrighty, pop that up there and release this. So if you weren't aware of what the FS Rapid can do, that is so nice. I can breathe again. All right, let's pop this down. What else have we got happening here? Even now, you know what? Even now, I could sand that, put a tiny, tiny arris along there and leave that. And I'd be out of trouble, except for these things here, which are absolutely destroyed, that hold the mirror, and the other two things. But that looks a whole lot better than it did. All right, I'm going to move this out of the way. I think the wheels also need a little bit of love. Is this going to pull back all right? Yep. Don't you love wheels? Magic. Bring this guy back into the fray because I think we're going to be just about time to start cutting. Now, even though you shouldn't really stress anything, you know, they say half an hour clamping. I think we're going to be right. I'll do a quick read. No, famous last words, there's no way this is going to happen. Worry is over, indeed it is. Clamp time, definitely. Yep, that happened to Rick Sherman. Safe again. Replace the damaged bit on the offcuts and glue it to the back to keep the original overhand depth. Now, it's an interesting thing that you should say that, but I have here, I purchased a piece of 1-inch raw Australian cedar. This is exactly the right thickness, and it's also about 2 inches longer than that top. So I've got a fair bit to play with there if I need it. I've also got another chunk there that's about 1 foot wide. These weren't cheap. I go all the last timber shows that I've been going to over the last 4 years. I've been checking all of the stands that sell timber, and I was looking for something that's as close a match as possible, and I found it. Alrighty. Now the other thing, if you can't find Australian cedar, there's also a thing called Syrian cedar, which is a very, very, very close match. Alright, next thing, move all the Allen keys off here. Saw blade, clear myself a bit of space. Before we hook into that, I'm going to quickly read out. There was no competition last week, so there was no winners, but the competition is on this week for tickets to the Sydney Timber Tools and Artisans show, which I will be going to. John will be sharing a space with me. We've got a little 3 metre space, 3 metres by 3 metres, 10 feet by 10 feet. And I'll be taking the benches, talking about the benches, moving a few this week. One is packed and ready to go to Perth. It's the other side of the continent. I said to the gentleman, it's cheaper for me to send them to New Zealand than it is to send to Perth. It's crazy. It's a long way. All right. So we've got Philip Moore in the UK and Don Mears in Alaska. Let's have a quick look at that. And we'll start with Don Mears. And here we go. I'm going to do the talk over at the same time. So Don is at Peterson Bay off Checkmark Bay off Cook Inlet, south of Homer, Alaska. Now he's got an area where he stores his boat with his work inside his workshop as well. So that's the boat, and that's the first boat I've seen with wheels, but I can understand with that environment. He says, storage of equipment is a serious issue, and each year we get better. I can't afford the current layout. I can't show you the current layout because I'm locked out at the moment. I use the wonderful Schlag locks that unlock with codes. Turns out that AA batteries don't like the cold very much. And that's the neighbour's dog. It's actually a black bear. Ha! Oh dear. Imagine one of them in your backyard. He says, key you say? Well, there is one around here somewhere. I bet you it's inside the workshop, but unfortunately the batteries are too cold. I can't get in. The building is getting electricity via extension cord, generator and solar panels. I hope to bury electrical cable across to the other side of the lot soon. Alaska. Yeah, the Americans bought, who was it? I forget, Ronald Reagan was it? Someone bought Alaska off the Russians years ago. I don't know, some crazy price, and Alaska turns out to be extremely mineral rich, or oil rich, or whatever. I bet you whoever was running it, Russia at the time, was a little bit upset. All right, and the other guy is Philip Moore, and let's see if I can find Philip's little slideshow that I created. And Philip says, hi Dave, saw your show on Sunday and thought I'd send you these pictures. The one with the alloy bars are, hold on, that's his house. No, sorry, that's, yep. Okay, let's get back to it. The one with the alloy bars are a hold down method that I came up with going into a UJK track. Another shows the tenoning jig that I've not finished yet for my small hand router. I've used your bench idea and adapted it for my small workshop. Also, I know this is not woodwork, but there's a pic here that's the view from my back garden. That's the photo we saw at the beginning. In Robin Hood's Bay here in the UK, I just wanted to send because it inspires me and most people that come here to visit. He also has an Airbnb, and that's in that bay. So if you just look up Robin Hood's Bay in the UK, and you will find that really nice spot to sit and look out at the bay. He says, my time is spent doing woodwork or music, and the overriding thing I take from is how nice the people are who are involved in these activities. There you go. Give yourselves a pat on the back. I'm very pleased to have happened on your YouTube offerings, as it provides much inspiration, has contributed to me getting back into making things after retiring from my commercial furniture business a while ago. All the best, Phil. There you go. Send me some stuff in, guys. It's always nice to be able to see what's happening around the world. You know, in Australia, it's normally pretty hot or hot. It's cold at the moment. All right, let's get into this. Take the clamps off. Oh, it's like a porcupine. And we'll run it through the bandsaw and then we'll call it for the day. Okay, I'm going to dock the ends off and I'll use the bandsaw for that. I'll take that guy off. I enjoy using this saw. We'll bring this over here so we can see what's going on. I'll switch the cameras around. Where are we? To there. I'll put the eye muffs on again. These guys here. How about next week we run a competition international again for a pair of these, the standard eye muffs. I'm sure that George would be happy with that. I'll make sure I'm plugged in. I'm not at this stage. And I think I've got a miter gauge here somewhere. This is the little one that comes with the saw. I'll run it in this direction. Okay, that's all looking good. Will it fit over there? No, I've got to turn it around. Turn her off. And I'm going to transfer a line around there. I don't want to destroy this thing. That's good. There we go. So I've got it pretty good there and pretty good there. I can just sand that up. Saw blade stopped. Beautiful. I need to rip this off the back now. Put this back on. And I'll turn it. So I've got this step here. I've got to get rid of that anyway, so I'll do that now. I'll release this and wind her up until I clear the bearings. Unlock it. Done. How good is that? It does a beautiful cut. All right, so now I've got that flat. then I can take this side off and it's going to sit stable for me. Now this is the part, this is the part. Now that's all cut, that's good there, that's good there. Now, I want this to sit back like that. So I'm going to now get a pencil. See this, children? And I'm going to draw a line like so. There you go. And I'm going to put it down here and make sure that, yes, when that's been cut, this will sit and this will be back at an angle. I'm going to sit this up there, and I don't want it to go that way, I want it to go that way, which means I'm going to look at the other end and I'm going to draw a line back that way. And if it was sitting there, that's correct. Now, that means now I'm going to tip it this way and put it in this end. Yep. And this one, do that on it. So there's no chance of me stuffing it up. Go around to the other side and relax the clamp and take it round to 7 degrees. Beautiful. All right. So it's this one, this one. I think it's all going to be good. I'm going to bring this down so it's very close to it. There's going to be a thin wedge that I cut. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to cut a little bit less than that because if I want to, I can run it over the jointer just to tidy the last bit up. There we go. Checking, good, checking, good. Come back to the other camera. And you guys are giving me a hard time. Moment of truth. Let's see what happens. You can't see. Here we go. I tip it down and you can see it there, sitting nicely at the front. All it needs is a little bit of a sand up. And let's see if the bottles go in nicely. They do, and they won't fall out. I can read the labels when they're turned around the right way. There you go. Straight away, I can read all the labels on it. It leans it back a little bit, so I haven't got to bend down to see it. There's the angle. I'll give that a sand. I'll give the back a bit of a sand and maybe put some felt on the underside and take the arises off around the edges. And you know, you could even make it, let me tip that camera up even a little bit more. We're just about done, guys. You know, someone made a comment about it being for tea candles, you could make it a spice rack. Yeah, it's just something a little bit different. So there you go. I think that's about it. Let me have a quick look at here. Yes, viewers shared setups, we've done that. The tickets, the revisit the die holder, we've done that. I have my reprieve. I'm allowed to go to Woodworkers Heaven again now. Support the channel through Patreon, yes. And while I've got that, look, I'll read the people that are on the tier, because it's one of the things I get to read their names out. And thank you so much to all of these people and everyone who helps me out with Patreon. But these guys get a special mention. Chris Sullivan, Johannes Moa, John W., John Para, Vincent Nyang, Andrew Haverlive, John Lafferty, Peter Woolworth, Brian Shaw, Brian Dolvecchio, Justin Bailey, Ken Wheels, Michael Christophers, and Brett Guthrie. Sorry, Brett. And Brett has moved to Esperance and is looking after a new parish down there. But he's very sad because he doesn't have a shed down there. So I don't know. Maybe you'll have to get a Stanton bench and work inside. Okay, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great week. Look after yourselves, be nice to each other, and let's see if I've got this one. Where are we? There it is, coming up. Thanks for watching. See you later.